Hey guys, what's going on? Sifu Greg here with the Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu School. We are going to be going to the Vamos School and working out and sharing our Sanda with the MMA world. Hang tight. Hey guys, what's going on? Sifu Greg here with the Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu School. So today we're going to be going over a sparring video that we actually traveled to the Vamos School, and the lav mic wasn't working, so I'm going to be talking over this. So as we go over it, I'll be explaining what we were doing here. Unfortunately, again, the lav mic was bad, so this might be a little easier. Thanks again, guys, for coming and being a part of it. Right here, I'm working the drill where we're in front of our opponent, and we're going to be working close quarters. So we want to be able to do a 1-2, and we want to pivot. Pivoting out of the way is so much better than actually just running back, moving back in a straight line, right? So right here, we're just going over the basic drill, just learning the 1-2 and setting up for that pivot, right? So the front leg comes up for a leg check, and then we throw the 1-2, and then we pivot out of the way. So we had a decent turnout. We probably had about 6 or 7 of the MMA guys that were there. I brought some of my guys there. So it was a really good, it was a good and refreshing workout, because my guys got to see the MMA world, and the MMA world got to see what we did, and to understand that we're way more similar than we are different. So this is really good. This one is what we call switch fighting, right? So we're going to be doing our switch setup. So from the guard stance position, we're going to go low, and then we're going to go high, and then we're going to press with our front hand, and then we're going to come with our power hand through the back. So again, we're switching. We're learning how to frame our opponent, or what we call bridging, right? So we're going to bridge our opponent or frame our opponent where we understand their body mechanics, right? So right from the guard stance position, we're going to go into the invert strike, which is going to be a low strike to the ribs over the top. And we're going to expect him to block that hand. And as he blocks that hand, we're just going to switch our body to the other side, so that our rear body, or the rear part of our body, our what we call a reverse punch, has a lot more power. So we're going to be able to utilize that punch and throw it in there. And then we set to hit to the back of the leg, right? So we're going to be working on destroying that calf muscle, right? Wearing down that calf muscle so that our opponent can't move. And that's the key. What we don't want to do is we don't want to drop our hands when we throw a roundhouse. We want to depend on our body mechanics to give us that power. So we try not to drop our hands as much as we can. We want to keep our hands up. Always keep, body frame and guard. It's really important. That's pretty much it. So this is a really good turnout. And then from here, I talk a little bit more about what was going on in class, and we were going over some more drills. So, all right, guys. So in this part of the video, I'm going to be guiding you guys through it. Not that you won't understand as we're going along here, but as I hit play here, what I'm describing right now is inside the kill box, right? So the hula hoop is the kill box. That is roughly 2 feet in diameter, right? So when your opponent's in that kill box, that's a clear sign that he can be hit, right? Or you can be hit at that point, because you're at the edge of the kill box, just like he is. Keeping your opponent at the edge of the kill box like this makes it much easier to understand distance and learn timing, right? So with our system, the Shaolin system that I learn and that I train and that I teach, we incorporate this into our free sparring, right? Which is Sanda. Sanda is not a style on its own. Sanda is what they call free fighting. And this is something that was developed a long, long time ago for all the Kung Fu styles to actually compete against each other. So what we've done is I've taken all of the techniques that we train at Shaolin, and we have modified them for that Sanda style fighting, right? Because we do this at our school and we compete with it. So this makes it much, much easier. So in this aspect here, we work with the hula hoops all the time. we actually went to go visit the Vamos school, which is in Holtzville. It's right near us. It's an MMA slash BJJ school. So great guys, open to what we're doing. My Kung Fu teacher actually teaches the MMA at the Vamos school. So we came there and we shared our techniques and our styles with some of the guys that were there for the day. Had a great time, had an awesome, amazing time. Everybody was open, everybody was welcome. With this here, all we're doing is working our pivot, right? Our pivot off of the Killbox or off of the hula hoop that we have on the floor here. So it's that lead in coming back because our opponent's throwing a strike to the liver or to the floating rib, and then we're going to pivot off of that foot. By pivoting, we never move back, right? We want to visualize and we want to understand that when we're fighting and we're doing our drills, we don't want to be programmed to moving back or moving in a straight line. We want our default to actually go to pivot. So anytime that you're moving back, you want to pivot right into a default, right? You want to see your body moving back, feel it moving back, and pivot out of the way so that you can continue to move and continue to fight, right? And not be stuck in a train track moving backwards, because that's the worst place that you want to be all the time. Okay. As we're going through this video, I'm going through that same drill, that same concept, right? We're gonna lead into the kill box to throw our technique, let our opponent come in, striking that liver, right? Or striking the floating rib. And then we're going to pivot out of the way. And this drill we do over and over and over again so that we understand how to be effective in it. Anytime that you do a drill, it's not something you should drill once and feel that you should feel comfortable with that technique. You want to be able to do the drill hundreds and thousands of times so it becomes natural when somebody comes in and throws that drill or throws that technique at you. You know how to move and how to flow with it. Footwork is, and I'll say it a million times, is the most important thing when it comes to fighting, when it comes to being able to utilize any kind of techniques fighting your opponent. It's all about footwork. You can be the greatest puncher in the world, greatest kicker in the world, but if you can't time and you can't move correctly, that's going to be your downfall. That is going to be your problem, because every time that you come in, the timing is going to be off, right? So here we are at another drill that we were doing. And this is one of the Sanda throws that we do, right? So with Sanda, we always understand T da na shui, right? So T is to kick. So we have kicking. T da. Da is to punch. So T da. Na is to lock, right? Holding, locking. Na and shui is to throw. So T da na shui. And that's our 4 principles of what we're doing. And as you can see here, it's basically using all of that. T da na shui, right? So my opponent throws the kick. We're gonna lock up that leg as it's coming in. We're gonna lock. We're gonna turn. We're gonna rotate, and then we're gonna toss our opponent. And as we pull, we throw our opponent's momentum off key. We don't want to just hold, because if we hold, our opponent's gonna bring us in and hit us. We want to be able to flow and move correctly. And that's what this drill is all about. And again, it's just doing this drill over and over and over again and feeling comfortable with what we're doing. It's so important to pressure test martial arts. And I'll be the first one to say that the majority of the Kung Fu schools out there don't fight. I'll be the first one to say it. And they started to really implement Sanda now into Wushu. Just so, everything is clear here. Modern Wushu is very different than traditional Kung Fu. Modern Wushu is very athletic. It's a great style to preserve martial arts, but as far as the martial content in it, it's very limited. So they've taken the next style of fighting and they call it Sanda. Shui Jiao was traditional war fighting, and Sanda is just easier to say. And Sanda just means free fighting. And originally, before Sanda, before Shui Jiao, it was on Lei Tai fighting, and it was called Lei Tai fighting. That's when you took your styles and you put them to use on the Lei Tai, which was 4 feet off the ground. So now, the Wushu camps are now using Sanda, and Sanda is very, very important. As we go along, this here is showing body posture, keeping the right foot on the right side, keeping the left foot on the left side, and being able to pivot out of the way and be able to use that pivot to actually strike your opponent. So this is actually Most styles do this anyway, which is really good. And I always try to tell people that we're way more similar than we are different. And the more that we understand that, and the more that we can grasp the fact that we are way more similar than we are different, then we're that much more ahead of the curve. People like to tear down other martial arts, and I say this all the time in all my videos, that, you know, people are like, oh, well, you know, this kung fu master was fighting this MMA guy, and that's all nonsense, right? So it's one guy fighting against the other guy. What they've learned is important, but to understand that when somebody's fighting and somebody's going through the drills, they are not the epitome of what they train. So you can have an MMA guy that sucks, or you can have a kung fu guy that sucks, or a kung fu guy that's really good, and an MMA guy that's really good. And the fight ends up being really balanced because you have two guys that have worked their styles efficiently and have pressure tested and are able to get that material out into the open, right? So again, it's so important to understand pressure testing and understanding what works and what doesn't work, and what's viable and what's not viable. Forms in our martial arts and traditional martial arts are not to teach you how to fight. They're to teach you the principles that run the system. The only way you learn how to fight is to pressure test your material. If you do not pressure test your material, you are not going to know how to fight. You can do great self-defense, you can do two-man sets and everything else, but the problem is that when you're in front of somebody, there's a lot of stuff that's going on emotionally. There's a lot of stuff that's going on physically, tired, sweating. If you're not able to utilize these techniques correctly because you haven't pressure tested them, that's your fault. That's not the system's fault. That's absolutely your fault because you did not pressure test your style. So pressure testing is very, very important. I hope you guys liked the video. This was interesting for me to actually put this on here like this. I thought that by me, you know, giving you a play-by-play of what's going on kind of, you know, helps people understand a little bit more about what we do. Try to keep this dialogue uncut so that you guys see and hear me for who I am and what I do and how I teach. On behalf of the Authentic Shaolin Kung Fu School guys, thank you so much. I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you for watching. It was a great time to actually go to another school and to share information, and for them to actually everybody just working together, right? Building together. It's all about understanding that our styles are more similar than they are different, and we should all understand that. So guys, thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed.